I am back. So today's live is going to be a little bit different because I this is actually going to be kind of like a movie review, and I am going to show different clips, and a little later on in the live I'll show different clips of this particular movie that I'm going to be reviewing. So the movie that I'm going to be reviewing is called Bugonia. You can find it, I think you can find it on Amazon Prime now, but I originally watched it on Peacock last night. And I've watched it twice. I'm going to watch it several times because I feel like each time that I watch this particular movie, I'm going to get something different from it. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to come into the live because I know sometimes, YouTube, there is a little bit of a delay. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to come in. All I ask is that you like the live as you come in, like the live. So this is kind of a watch party because I don't want it to be copywritten or anything. So I'm going to show you bits and pieces of this film. Again, the disclaimer, this is, I am going to be talking about the movie. I am going to be showing clips of the movie. So if you have not watched Bugonia yet and you want to watch it, this is a spoiler alert live, so I'm going to be talking about the movie, so you may not want to watch this live until after you've watched the movie. And I think after you've watched the movie, a lot of the stuff that I'm saying is going to make sense. So if you want to stay here, if you are, into spirituality and you're very in tune, very aware, and you like to dissect things the way that I do, you will enjoy this live. If you're someone that's a bit mundane and you don't want to look into the deeper aspect of things, you may not like this live. But if you are like me, I think you're going to enjoy this. And I actually want to have a record of this. I think this film is really good. It's surprisingly good, but it's also, there's a lot of aspects of this film that is a bit, I'll say, disrespectful to my cosmic ancestors, my cosmic family. I do, believe that, the creator of all there is created many things, right? In earth, on earth, in the inner earth, in between earth, and also in the heavens, in the skies. So I am one of those people that believes that not only do we have ancestors, right? So like my great, 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 great grandmother, great, 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 great grandfather, those are my ancestors. But I also believe that we have cosmic ancestors. And I'm not even going to say that this is a belief, because I do feel like a lot of times beliefs are not rooted in fact or experiences. I've had real experiences with cosmic beings before I even understood what cosmic beings are. Okay, so yeah, so hi. All right, so you guys are coming in. You guys are coming in. May the ancestors need to leave. Okay, so you guys are coming in. So yeah. Why do you hate your ancestors? Are you trolling? I think there's some trolls in in the live. Anyway, like the live as you come in. Like the live, share this video. So we're going to be discussing the movie Bugonia. This is a spoiler. I am going to be playing bits of the movie. So if you want to watch it, I suggest you watch it first before tuning into the live. But for those of you that are in here, thank you so much for watching. So this movie, I'm going to pull it up on, I want to show you guys a few clips. So before I get into that, I do want to say this, kind of give some context. This movie talks about Andromedans. If you don't know what Andromedans are, you can look it up. Andromedans, I always say, do your own research. Do not take anything that anyone says on these apps as the truth or as the end all be all. Vet it out yourself. Like, we're adults, so let's vet things out, flush it out. And if it's something that resonates with you, then it resonates. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But this movie talks about Andromedans, and that is not the first time that I've heard about Andromedans. The very first encounter that I had with Andromedans was, I want to say, about 10 years ago now. There was someone, I had went to Oregon. I went to Oregon on a spiritual retreat for about 4 days. And in Oregon, first of all, Oregon is absolutely beautiful. It almost looks like you're in a different world. Like when you go to Oregon, I was near Mount Shasta. So if you guys don't know what Mount Shasta is, that's where I was. And Mount Shasta is one of the seven wonders of the world. So I went there for a spiritual retreat just to kind of give myself a reset and get out of the mundane, working a 9 to 5, paying bills and all that. I needed like a spiritual reset. So at that time, I, this trip presented itself and I took advantage of the opportunity. It was very much aligned. I already had the money, to pay for it. So it was just perfect. So I knew that this was meant for me to go to Oregon. So I went to Oregon, went to the spiritual retreat. In this spiritual retreat, I had many encounters. I was not under the influence of anything. I wasn't under the influence of any drugs, but I did participate in what I would like to say ancestrally guided ceremonies, if that makes sense. Okay. Um, it'll make sense. It'll make sense later. So somebody's like, what is she talking about? I'm gonna talk about the movie Bugonia. That's what I'm gonna be talking about, but I'm kind of giving like some contents and so you can know where I arrived, how I got to the conclusion that I'm about to get to. So bear with me, we got all day. Let's not rush it. I'm a little long-winded, so I'm not gonna get to the point immediately. I'm not one of those microwavable, like 10 seconds in, we're already into the point. No, we're going to slow walk this. We're going to take our time. All right. So grab your popcorn, grab your little snack, grab you something to drink or whatever it is you're into and sit back, relax and enjoy. All right. Thank you so much for watching. So, what was I saying? So yeah, so I went to this retreat. I had many spiritual encounters there. One of the encounters that I had, which I didn't know at the time, was the Andromedans. The Andromedans. The Andromedans, I don't want to get into who they are and what they are, but what I will say about Andromedans are they are cosmic beings, right? They are not of Earth. They are not from Earth. Andromedans is also brought up in this movie that just came out for 2026 on Peacock. You can also find it on Amazon Prime, called Bugonia, Bugonia, Bugonia. It's so interesting that my live keeps getting, okay. It's so interesting. It's like are they sending bots to my live? Like what the hell? I tried to go live yesterday and it did the same thing. Like it'll get cut off. Anyway, I'm back. So, so like I was saying, the Andromedans are cosmic beings. They are all women. It is a matriarchal society. It's based on the matriarch. So there's no men in this Andromedan society. They are women of melanated hue. Okay. So I'm not necessarily going to say that they are black, but they look like me. So yes, they are technically black. They're melanated is the correct term. They are melanated cosmic beings. Okay. And a lot of them look like me. They resemble me. They have my phenotype, the eyes, the lips, nose, complexion, things like that. Okay. So in this movie, Bugonia, they talk about, okay, so, I swear. The trolls on YouTube, y'all get on my nerves. Because you know what's funny? A lot of times people, and I'm just going to address the trolls right now. Okay. People can say you're stupid. People can say you're crazy. People can say a lot of things. One, I'm not crazy. Two, I am very much sane. I live in the real world, just like most people. Have a regular 9 to 5. I'm a mother, a wife, all those things, and a lot of times the trolls will come on here and say you're stupid, say you're this, say you're that. Then why are you on the live? Why are you here? You can exit. You know what I mean? Like you can definitely exit. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I feel like people will say the most craziest thing because they know they have the protection of the phone, right? But if you were to see me face to face, you would not have that same energy. I have never had anyone come to me in my face and say you're crazy, you're stupid, or you don't know what you're talking about. Most of the people that know me in my personal life know what time it is with me. And 9 times out of 10, I'm right with what I'm saying. I may be ahead of the game. I'm usually ahead of my time when I'm talking about certain things. And then years later, somebody will be like, you know what? I heard Lady Millionaire talk about this. So for the person that was like, oh, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about, yeah, you can kindly leave. Okay. But thank you so much for watching. So we're going to go ahead and time you out. I'm not going to block anyone from the channel because I'm still getting used to like the chat. So I will just put you in time out for 24 hours. Okay. So that way we can get to what I really want to get to. So we're going to time you out as well. All right. There we go. Okay. Don't worry about the crayon eaters. So yeah, so they talk about Andromedans in this film, you guys, okay? And like I said, if you haven't watched Bugonia, watch it. Now, I will say this, you know, a lot of times in these movies, they like to bait and switch. And this movie is one of them. And the bait and switch comes in the woman that is playing the character of the Andromedan. She's a woman. She's supposed to be from Andromeda. And she's playing an Andromedan who gets kidnapped by humans, right? They depict her as a Caucasian woman, which Andromedans are not, they're not fair skinned, they're not pale skinned, and that's nothing against that community. There's nothing against Caucasians. I'm just saying that they're not of that phenotype. So a lot of the times in these movies, the writers and the directors and the people that cast for these films, they're gonna give you half truths, right? They're never gonna give you the entire truth. The same way, you know, for example, the movies about like Egypt, the mummy and things like that, they're never going to cast a melanated person when we know that melanated people were in Egypt. There was no one in Egypt that was fair skinned. It's hot. So it's impossible for someone to be fair skinned and they're from Egypt. So it's the same thing with this movie. In Bugonia, they depict the Andromedan woman as a Caucasian woman, very fair skin, pointy nose, no lips, just not the phenotype of what an Andromedan actually looks like. You may ask, well, Lady Millionaire, how do you know what an Andromedan looks like? I've had encounters with them. No, not an encounter like how I have an encounter with, you know, my daughter. I'm talking about in the dream realm. I've seen them in the dream realm. And I've had spiritual encounters with them. Okay, so that's what I mean. I don't mean in the physical sense an Andromedan came down and shook my head and said, hey, I'm from Andromeda. I mean, they came to me in, I think, the most safest way to come to a human being, right? Because we are trapped by all of these different dogmas and things like that. So they came to me in the safest way, which is while I was sleeping in the dream realm. Okay. So that is how I know that they look like me, because the woman that came to me looked like me. They were not pale skin. It was not a man. It was a woman that looked like me. She looked like she could be like my grandmother or like one of my cousins. So I say all that to say, in this movie, they casted the Andromedan as a Caucasian woman. That is propaganda. That is to kind of trick you into thinking that aliens are not melanated, or aliens are just these gray, big, bug-eyed beings that they show you in like Hollywood and things like that. Aliens, there are many different levels of aliens, the same way there's many different kinds of humans. So you have, you know, white people, black people, Asians, Indians, Native Americans. Like, we have different races of different humans. There is also different species or different races of cosmic alien beings. It's the same thing, okay? So they casted this white woman to play the Andromedan. Not only that, she was someone that was in the corporate world. So she worked in corporate America. She was a chemist, right? So she worked in like, you know, the tech world as well. And then she also says in the movie, there's a part of the movie, which I will get into the movie a little bit later, but I kind of want to give it some context before I play the film. She also says that she has a degree in psychology. So a lot of times, these people that are in corporate America, that work in like the tech industry, NASA, these big corporations, these Fortune 5, the Fortune 500 corporations, a lot of them have been possessed, I will say, by otherworldly beings. Now, this is not to disparage people that have gone to school, gotten education, worked really hard to get their degree. I'm not saying that everybody that works in the tech industry is an alien. I'm practical, right? I'm not, because I have a degree, okay? So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that sometimes some of these beings that run the corporate world, that are in the pharmaceutical companies, that work in the tech industry, that work in space and space travel, they are not 100% human. A lot of them, alien, a degree in bullshit. A lot of them, have been possessed by otherworldly beings to, create some type of agenda. Okay. So their mission is really not to save humanity or to cure disease and things like that. A lot of them are in this for the destruction of humanity, unfortunately. That's why it's really important, to, yes, integrate your practical life into spirituality. So it's like, so that you can kind of understand the dynamics of corporate America versus spirituality, and for you to understand when you're in spiritual warfare and to recognize it when you see it. So this is all about having discernment and things like that. Okay. A lot of them, like you said, Dollface, are into magic. They practice dark magic. If you in 2026, if you still think that people are not using magic, they're not using subliminal codings and things like that, they're not using frequency to control a certain population, you are sadly mistaken. Okay. The days of, oh, this isn't real, or you're crazy, or I can promise you, you guys, I'm not crazy. I've never been diagnosed with anything. I've never taken any drugs. I rarely drink. And if I do drink, it's spirits that I know can kind of coexist with me. Okay. I may drink champagne every once in a while, but I'm not someone that is like doing hard drugs and this girl is off her rockers. Trust me, I'm very sane. People that know me in real life know, like, Trisha's been about this. I've been doing this since before YouTube was YouTube. Okay. So, and for Gun to Mike, I do have a job. Maybe you're a bum. Maybe you're sitting at home watching me, a beautiful, beautiful melanated goddess. You're sitting at home watching me, but you're calling me a bum. I have a job, a 9 to 5, and I also create content on YouTube for bum ass niggas like you. All right. And I don't need anyone online to validate what I'm doing. If I needed people's validation, I would not do this. I'm not getting paid for this, y'all. I literally have only 2,000 subscribers. I'm not getting paid to say anything that I'm saying. I say what I'm saying because I feel pulled to say it and speak on it publicly. So if this is not the conversation for you, you can exit stage left, okay? Again, I'm not going to block anyone. Everybody has free range to do whatever it is that they want to do. I'm not here to police what people are going to say, and I'm not here to have everyone agree with me because I don't need your validation. Gun to Mike. Okay? So, yeah. So we're going to put you in timeout. Just timeout. We're not blocking anybody. We're just putting you in timeout. Matter of fact, I might just, no, I want to keep the comments up because I want you guys to, I don't want to deter anyone else from like leaving their comments. So I'll leave the comments up, but just keep it respectful. So yeah, so that was my purpose. So I kind of wanted to preface that, where they, they kind of make you think in this movie that Andromedans are, evil and they are heartless. Andromedans hurt men. Yes, Andromedans are a matriarchal society, but we do not hurt men. We do not agree with the harming of men or women or children. Okay, we are protectors. We are protectors of men and children. But we are a matriarchal society. That does not mean we are against men or anything like that. But in this movie, the movie depicts it as Andromedans are, Caucasian, no lip, hairless beings. They're harmful to men. They are diabolical to humanity. They, it's all kinds of propaganda in this film, but it's a really, really great film. Okay. So I'm going to play, with that being said, I'm going to play a part of the movie for y'all. So I downloaded the Peacock app so that I can play this. Hold on, you guys. Bear with me. Bear with me. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. If you have not already seen Bugonia, I'm going to play part of the film. So this is a spoiler alert, okay? Let's see if it plays. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Bear with me. Okay, so... All right.
A flower. Just a flower. Then, a honeybee.
And if you guys are wondering, well, why is she pulling this up on her phone and not like on the computer or anything? It's because sometimes if you pull up the content while you're on the live, like YouTube can strike it down, and I don't want Peacock or Prime or anyone to strike this as their content. But when you play it on your phone, that bypasses all of that. So that's the reason why I'm playing it on my phone. But if you guys want to watch this, you can watch this on Amazon or on Peacock. Okay.
Very fragile.
Let me pause it real quick. I agree with you. Dollface 444. Definitely watch it. And you know what else I think is funny? When people are like, oh, you're crazy, it's just a movie. It's never just a movie. Remember, these movies, there's writers, there are people that are behind these movies backing these films. They go through many different channels before the actual script is approved to be put out there by Hollywood. Remember, even though these are movies that are supposed to be independent films being streamed on Peacock, Amazon, Netflix, and all of that, they still participate in the Hollywood realm, okay? So they're never going to give you 100% the truth. They will give you half-truths to kind of confuse you. And it's like, if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't, right? So, so yes, they would not put certain movies out if there wasn't some truth to it. You just have to be discerning enough to know what is truth and what isn't. Okay? And everybody's level of understanding is different. So I'm not expecting everyone to see things the way that I see it. So that's why I don't need everybody to agree with me in the chat. I know people are going to say, oh, you're crazy. But I know me. So I don't need validation. But what I will say is this. There's always truth to a lot of these films. And the best way to conceal the truth is either to put it in a book, because 9 times out of 10 people are not going to read it. Their attention span is about 15 seconds. So anything that requires more intellect, more time to really grasp and understand and study, they know that they can put in a book, and most people will not read it. Most people will not study. Most people will not research. So the best way to hide the truth is to put it in a book or put it in a film that is because this film it's very anticlimactic. I'll say that. It starts off very slow. It's not like action packed. It's very slow, but you gotta watch the language, how they're talking, the script, what they're saying. Okay, all of it is cool. There's a lot of gems in this movie too, but it's very slow build. You know, it's not a big climax. I mean, the climax honestly is towards the end, and I'm not going to play the whole 2 hours. You can watch that on your own. I'm just going to play in total, I might play about 20 minutes of it here and there, and I'll kind of stop to kind of give commentary. But this woman here, she is supposed to be the Andromedan. Looks nothing what like an Andromedan really looks like. Remember, Andromedans look almost like me, right? They kind of resemble me. So definitely, they love playing in our face. Well, not my face. They love playing in their face. Not you and I's face. We know what it is. And a lot of people, there's a lot of people that think like us. I feel like the majority of people that I know in real life, and I'm not talking about on social media, the majority of the people that I know in real life, they get it. They know. We have conversations like this. When we're sitting around the table and we all getting together, we have conversations like this and we get it. But online, because you don't know who you're talking to online. It could be bots, people are NPCs, people are soulless beings, people are a bit slow, they don't want to do research, and they only take in what they're being told. They don't want to do their own research. So to them, anything that is new, a new thought or an idea or something that they've never heard of before, they automatically discount it as, oh, this person's crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. Just because you don't know what I'm talking about doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay? All right. All right. They play in your face. They mess with your confidence so that what your intuition is picking up on, you're automatically going to discount it as, oh, that's not it. It's not that serious. They play with your confidence. And when he says he's talking about outside entities, demons, jinns, some cosmic beings, alien beings that can mess with human synapses to make you doubt yourself. That's why they say self-doubt is your enemy. Okay? Never doubt yourself. If you know something and you know it to be true, the best thing to do is to vet it out, flush it out, but never doubt what comes into you organically. Okay? Because your intuition, 9 times out of 10, is right. Okay?
Ever. None of this is your.
You know what I think is this movie, I will say this, trigger warning, it is a bit sad because the characters, and I know they were purposely casted this way to play this way. The characters of the gentlemen, the two gentlemen here, they're cousins. One of them was abused as an infant, and you'll see that throughout the movie. I'm not going to really touch into that because that's kind of a sensitive topic. So I won't touch into that, but you'll see it if you do decide to watch this film. One of them was abused as a child. So there's already like his innocence has been tampered with, right? There's a part of his psyche that has been tampered with already from an infant. But that does not discount that what he's saying is the truth. What I think is interesting about these two characters is that they are supposed to be on the spectrum to a certain degree, so they're kind of slow or what I'm, like there's some form of mental retardation there. That is how they're playing it, but it's almost to play in your face so that if you were to encounter someone that's having these types of conversations like myself and others, you're automatically going to discount it as this person doesn't know what they're talking about. This person is mentally ill. They're crazy. Right? So I think that that's interesting that the way that these two young men are playing this role, they're very slow. It kind of seems like they're on the spectrum. Like the way that they talk is very like, oh yeah. Like, it's very slow. So that is to throw you off so that you don't think that what they're saying is in fact truth. And the movie is like that throughout it. It's a bit disrespectful and it's kind of sad. So I will say that. So if you're someone that, you're not very, you're very sensitive or easily angered and things like that, this movie is going to be a trigger for you. Okay. So I do want to say that this is I know, mental retardation, mental illness, those things are very sensitive topics, but they use it in this film to kind of deter you like, oh, they're just crazy. They're slow. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. But yeah, they do. They know exactly what they're talking about.
We clear the psychic cache, okay? No distractions. No gaming, no vape, no whacking it. Okay. No screens whatsoever.
So what he's saying in this conversation, he is preparing his cousin to kidnap this woman that they believe is from Andromeda that is corrupting society and the bees are dying. So his thing is we need to save the bees because if the bees die, humanity as we know it ceases to exist. So he is, in his mind, he is operating on the behalf of humans to kidnap this woman so that this woman can take him to where she is from so that he can negotiate a better term, almost like a peace treaty between humans and these alien beings. So he's going to kidnap her to get her to take him to where she is from so that he can talk to her delegates to come up with some type of treaty between humans on Earth and otherworldly beings in her planet where she's from, Andromeda, technically. So he's preparing his cousin, and he's telling his cousin, hey, we're going to kidnap this woman. She's very, um, she's very strong. She works out. Remember, these are alien beings, so their strength is far surpasses human strength. They have really good psychic abilities. They're able to talk to you through your mind and manipulate the way that you think and what you say and things like that. So he's like, we need to be vigilant. We need to prepare ourselves. Hence why they were doing yoga in the beginning to mentally prepare themselves. Sounds like Jesus Christ is the truth. Okay, Jesus Christ is the truth. Okay. Hey, all opinions are welcomed, but okay. So yeah. So so he's having a conversation with his cousin, and he's telling his cousin, we need to mentally prepare ourselves. We need to physically prepare ourselves so that way she doesn't bypass our psychic, like he doesn't want to be controlled by her through psychic thoughts and things like that. And he's also saying, you can't whack off, meaning he's telling the cousin, don't masturbate, don't do any of that. Like your body needs to be pure. Kind of like the way a coach would tell an athlete, like before they're about to, for example, boxers. Before a boxer's about to go into a big fight, they usually tell them to refrain from what? Refrain from sex. That's the first thing they tell them to refrain from. Refrain from sex, because sex will automatically pull from your chi energy, okay? And it will weaken you. So that is what he's telling his cousin. You need to be strong mentally. You need to do, and this is an opinion, not fact. Yes. Exactly. You need to save your life force. No masturbation, no whacking off, no computers, no TV. And then there's something else that he's going to do as well to prepare himself physically and mentally to kidnap this Andromedan and not have this Andromedan escape. Okay, let's go.
Research.
Like the video if you guys are enjoying this live. Like the video and share this live. Let me go back.
What does that mean? Maximum okay.
Okay, so this is almost like a story of the neophyte becoming the master, becoming a master, right? The neophyte becoming a master. What does a neophyte have to do before they go into initiation? They need to fast, abstain from anything sexual, so no masturbation, no sex, no nothing. A lot of times to become a master, they do say that you cannot have children. Why can't you have children? Not because children are evil or dark or anything like that. The reason why they say you can't have children or a wife or anything is because in order to become a master in certain practices, you cannot have any attachments to any other human. You need to be focused. So he's like, we need to have focus. We need to do this with precision, right? So no, give up the idea of having a family, because, the cousin, he's kind of sad. He's like, damn, I wanted to have a family one day. I wanted to be able to procreate. He almost doesn't want to take this chemical castration drug. But his older cousin is explaining to him, in order for us to take down this Andromedan, we cannot, because she's a woman, women, we're naturally going to be, we're going to use our je ne sais quoi energy to manipulate, and men are going to want to desire us. And a lot of times with women, we are very persuasive, especially if you're an attractive woman. You can persuade men and women to really do whatever it is that you want. That's why they say that siren energy that women have, you have to harness that and use that for good, because you can also use that siren energy, that allure, to pull people into darkness. But our job as a true divine feminine is to, yes, we're going to naturally attract people to us. Yes, we have the power of allure and persuasion, but you got to use that for the goodness of humanity, not to destroy and create destruction and things like that. So he says, in order for you to become a master, all of the urges that you have of wanting to procreate, because children and having a family and having a wife, that is going to distract you. The same way with people that, go to war and they're fighting wars, right? They tell you, don't bring a picture of your wife and your kids and all of that when you're going to fight war, because you're going to be so busy focused on, oh my God, my wife and my child is back home, that you're not focused on the mission, which is to go to war, to go into battle. Okay, so he is programming his cousin as well as himself to mentally and physically prepare himself for this war, this mental war, though, because the woman, she's not really going to fight back. Like, they kind of subdue her. But women mentally, our psychic abilities is on 1,000. if we're going to be honest, and I'm being honest here, men and women, yes, we all have intuition, but women's intuition, women's psychic ability is on another level. That is why a lot of times, even on, YouTube and things like that, the majority of the people that do readings, like myself, that are, call themselves psychic mediums and things like that, they are mainly women. You're not going to really see too many men. And if you do see men, they're going to be men that are a bit feminine, that are more tapped into their feminine energy, that are psychic readers on YouTube and, social media. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to keep playing. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, thank you for your participation and your engagement.
Fuck with you.
This also talks about the DI. This movie has so many gems in it, you guys. So she's talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? So the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah. So it's the DEI movement. This DEI movement that people are, it was like a big thing in 2025 and stuff like that. People were boycotting Target. They were boycotting a lot of things. This movie also touches on the DEI movement and how it's really about propaganda. It's not necessarily that they care about diversity, equity, and inclusion. They don't want to include you in anything. They want it to be you're down here and I'm up here. The diversity, equity, and inclusion, all that, it was BS to begin with. But they kind of touch on that in this film, and they kind of almost make fun of it. They make fun of a lot of things. They make fun of people that are mentally ill. They make fun of people that are truth tellers. They make fun of whistleblowers. It's a lot of different things in this film. No, I am not high, Lee Dev. Do you want to get blocked from this live? Because you could leave. Idiots. No, I'm not high. It's water in here, y'all. Like, I hate when people come in and say dumb shit. Like, y'all can't be dumb all y'all lives. You can't be. It's water. It's water, you idiot. It's water. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy, or you could leave. Don't be dumb all your life. Okay? Don't be dumb all your life. Let's go.
To find that with no pressure. Just
Ooh,
remembering,
let me
we
tell
are
y'all, this right here triggered me. Y'all, I was triggered at this part. Pause. We'll get back to it. I was so triggered in this part because I worked in corporate America for many years right after college. Right after college, I graduated, did what I was supposed to do, got the degree and blah, blah, blah and all that. Double major, yada, yada. Get the degree, get the dream job in corporate America. You see how in this part where she's like, if you can leave, the new culture is that you don't have to stay and work overtime. You can leave at 5:30, but if you still have work to do, just make sure, you're technically not supposed to leave until your work is done, but you can leave, I guess, because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We can't force you to stay here past 8 hours, but if you have work to do. So I dealt with that in real life when it comes to corporate America. There is no work-life balance when it comes to the corporate world, okay? Exactly. And they trick us with the salary. Yes, they do. When I tell you, I was making the most money when I was working in corporate America. The salary was great. Great pension. I mean, I have a pretty decent job now, but I have a lot more freedom, which is why I'm able to do YouTube and still work my 9 to 5. I have a lot more freedom with this company. And it took me a very long time. I damn near had to interview the interviewer to see if I was going to accept the position. Okay? But graduated out of college, very young, very green, just want to make money, want to, appease my parents and do the right thing. So I get this job in corporate America. I got my, my little desk or whatever the case is, beautiful view of the city and all that. Y'all, I was sick. You understand me? We're talking about, I lost so much weight from not eating and swallowing coffee every day. I had coffee for breakfast, lunch, and dinner so that I could stay up, so that I can meet quotas, so that I could make sure all of my emails were answered, doing spreadsheets, doing all this extra stuff and it's like, I was so drained. I remember one time coming home for the holidays and my mom being like, "Are you sick? What's wrong with you? Why did you lose so much weight? Are you okay?" My parents thought that I was sick, you guys. That is what the rat race of corporate America is. Okay, now I'm not saying this to discourage anyone from pursuing their dream. If your dream is to work in a Fortune 500 company and make a lot of money, by all means do that. But remember, work-life balance is important, because guess what? If you drop dead today at your corporate job, they will replace you the next day with somebody else. You are expendable. So I had to learn through life, through experiences, that you cannot give your all to these corporations, because they really do not give a damn about you or your health. It is about meeting quotas and meeting the demands of the business. And if you cannot meet the demands of the business, I promise you they will replace you in a heartbeat with someone that can meet those demands. Okay, they'll replace you with a robot, which they're doing right now with AI. AI is doing a lot of these jobs that humans once did, because AI doesn't get tired. AI doesn't need a break. AI doesn't need to go into the restroom and pump their milk because they have a 3 4 month old baby back home that needs milk. And because at my job they had like stations where, if you had just had a baby and you needed to come back to work, that you can go and like pump the milk and store it in a refrigerator and take it with you to go home to feed your child. So AI doesn't need to do these things. AI doesn't need HR. AI doesn't need any of that, right? So a lot of these corporate jobs, they are being replaced by artificial intelligence, because a lot of the things that human needs just to be human, AI doesn't need it. All right. Okay, let's go. So they cut her hair off, and part of the reason why they cut off her hair is because, if you understand, like if you've studied and stuff like that, you understand that your hair is connected to the cosmos. It is your antenna. It also protects you. Like the hair in your armpits, the hair down there, the hair on your head, your eyelashes, eyebrows, all these things are there to protect you from bacteria, dust mites, even disease, frequencies, and things like that. That is why, people that people that are born hairless, they're susceptible to a lot of illnesses. So like people that don't have any hair on their skin, they have no eyebrows, they're born with no eyelashes and things like that. They have a very hard time fighting off like the mere common cold and things like that, because the hair acts as a barrier from like outside things, chemtrails and stuff like that. So it is important to have your hair on your body. Even me with these braids, obviously this isn't my hair, right? I have on braids, like, but this is more of like a protective style. But normally my hair underneath here is all natural. It's no chemicals in it, no perms, none of that, right? I have natural hair that's almost about this length. So even with this is almost acting as a sort of barrier, right? So if I wanted to, and in my realm of things, I am a spiritualist and things like that. So if I wanted to do like a particular spiritual ceremony for someone, I could not do it in this season with my hair like this, braided up. I would have to have my braids out, natural hair, no nails, no jewelry. I would have to take everything out. So, hair, I'm saying, does act as a protective barrier for you. So a lot of times when women go through like a psychotic break, okay, or they're under spiritual attack, what is the first thing that they do besides get a tattoo? Because a lot of times when you're going through like a lot of pain and things like that, you identify with the pain of tattooing. But what is the one thing that when you are under spiritual or psychic attack, or if you are trying to, if they want to strip your identity from you, what is one of the things that they do? And they even do this in some forms of military. Does anybody know? What's one of the things that they do? They cut your hair. They shave your head. When you are being initiated, whether it is, through whatever it is you're being initiated to, a lot of times as part of the initiation and your reset, they will cut your hair off to dehumanize you, to stop the communication, the psychic communication that your hair has to the cosmos, because that is a real thing. Look it up. It's scientific what I'm saying. Okay. One of the things that they will do is cut off all of your hair and make you bald. Cynthia Erivo's, perfect example. Cynthia Erivo's, excuse me. Am I saying her name right? I think it's Cynthia Erivo's. If you've noticed, Cynthia Erivo's, the woman that plays in Wicked with Ariana Grande, do you see how she looks now? When she first started out as an actress, she had hair. She looked healthy. She had all these, okay. I hate the trolls because the trolls really get on my nerves. So I'm timing out the trolls. I'm not blocking you from the channel, but I'm timing you out because y'all are a distraction. Anyway, but if you look at Cynthia Erivo's, when she first started her career in Hollywood to now, she has changed drastically. And I thought, well, there's a couple things. There's a couple reasons why I feel like the change has happened. On a spiritual level, she's completely bald. She has no hair on her head. I mean, shaved bald down to the skin, y'all. Cynthia Erivo's has no hair, which means she has given up her power and her connection, the psychic connection, the intuitive connection that her hair that acts as antennas has. She's cut that off completely. It's almost like she's given her power away for Hollywood, to be in films and things like that, to be in musicals, which is insane. But she's relinquished her power, right? Not only has she cut off her hair, but I also think that Cynthia Erivo's, there's something deeper happening there. I do feel like from a practical 3D human sense, when I look at her, I see someone that could be suffering from some type of eating disorder, along with Ariana Grande. Yes, there's something spiritual happening with these women, but on a practical level, I do feel like there is some sort of eating disorder. And again, this is my opinion. I am not a doctor. I do have degrees, but I don't have my doctorate degree. But I do feel like she could be suffering from like bulimia or some type of eating disorder, okay, with these two young women. And I think that the eating disorder is a result of her relinquishing her power by cutting off her hair. So what do they do to this Andromedan in this film? What do they do to the Andromedan? As soon as they kidnap her, the guy says, hurry up, we got to cut her hair off because she can connect to the mothership, right? This is what he says. She can connect to the mothership, so you need to hurry up and cut off all her hair. And they get rid of her hair. They also do this when you're pledging, like people that are in like fraternities and things like that, or in the military. One of the things that they do to initiate you and to make you, easily susceptible to programming and MK Ultra and mind control is cutting off your hair. And then the next thing they'll do, sleep deprivation and food deprivation to make you delirious. Let's go. Okay, so I think I want to fast forward to another part of the film.
Man, I feel good, don't you?
Okay, so I want to fast forward to another part, 24 minutes. I'm going to fast forward to 24 minutes into the film. So this is her. Okay. Notice how anyone that was in most movies, right, when someone is kidnapped, what's the first thing you ask? Where am I? What am I doing? Why have you kidnapped me? Let me go. Scream, yell. She's calm. She's not screaming. She's not yelling. But the first thing that she asks is, where's my hair? Why did you cut off my hair? Right? So she understands that her hair is powerful and she's fucked because they've now cut off her source of power, which is her hair. She's not worried about her being kidnapped, chained to a bed. She's not worried about being possibly unalive. What she's worried about, her hair and the fact that they cut her hair off. And she's like, yo, I'm screwed because they didn't cut off. She goes on this rant for like 5 minutes. It's just talking. She's talking to them. She's demanding things. In what film? And that's how I tell you, like, the people that write these films, they've studied. They do a lot of studying, which we don't do because we don't want to study anything. We don't want to read. We don't want to learn anything outside of what we're told to study, right? This movie is called Bugonia, and you can find it on Peacock or Amazon Prime. But she goes in, she's just talking, talking, talking. And what I think is funny is that they wrote it purposely where it's like she's not frantic, she's not afraid, she's asking for her demand. She's saying, okay, this is what's going to happen, this is the rundown. You've kidnapped someone that is of power, and X, Y, and Z is going to happen, right? She's not worried about her being kidnapped. The natural human propensities of fear, wanting to escape, pulling at the chains, like, let me go, why am I here? She doesn't have those natural human propensities, which is why you know that she is alien in this film, right? And they depict the Andromedan, which is, Andromedans are not like this, but they depict the Andromedan as being very cold, very cold, but also very calculated. Okay. And, but they put some truth in there. The truth that is in there is that Andromedans have very long, natural flowing hair, coily hair. Okay. And you'll see that a little bit later on in the film if you do watch it. I think I'm going to pause it here. I'm not going to show anything else. But I wanted to leave you guys with this. Let me know what y'all think so far about this film. It's a really good film. It's one of those films that does have some triggers. Okay, so if you're very sensitive to certain topics and things like that, I wouldn't recommend you watch it, or just kind of watch it in bits and pieces. This is also one of those films that you have to watch more than once. It's not something that you're going to get right away, or you may get it right away. It depends on your level of awareness, okay? Some people will get it right away. Others will be like, what the hell is this? This doesn't make any sense. But I promise you, the ending is where it gets, most of the climax is in the end. Everything else is pretty mundane, anticlimactic. There's some parts here and there, you know, towards the middle, I want to say about 40, 50 minutes into the film, there's a climax. And that climax is where the Andromeda has won and they are losing. And then towards the end, there's like the big reveal and you see what really happens towards the end of this film. I definitely recommend that, you know, and if you, Lunar Arva, if what I'm saying doesn't make any sense, you may want to go back and watch the live and it will make sense to you, or it won't. I mean, whatever. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this live. Again, this is a little bit different. Normally I'll do a reading and I'll go live and like pull some cards and things like that. But I wanted to really focus on this film and how it talks about the Andromedans and Andromeda. And I also wanted to kind of point out different nuances and things like that of how these writers of these films and these producers, they will trick the masses into believing a certain thing about a group of people, but you never know who these people are until you are amongst the people. That's why I always say it's very good to travel other places outside of your own little bubble so that you can meet other people. It's good to experience other cultures, you know, travel, use your passport. If you don't have a passport, go to a different state, spend time with other people outside of your culture, right? Spend time with, you know, different cultures. Go to Africa, go to Germany, go to Paris, spend time with Europeans, spend time with other people that are outside of your culture, because you will realize that a lot of us are really the same. Okay. So, you know, the days of racism and sexism and ageism, that is very primitive. And I feel like as humans, we have to evolve beyond that nonsense, because once you realize that there's really no difference between me and you, the only difference is people that have souls and people that don't. That is it. There is no, oh, you're black, I'm white. There's none of that. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, you know, commentary on this film. It's a really good film. And I think they did a pretty good job. The actor, the gentleman, I forget what his name is, but the one with the red hair, the older cousin, he's played in other movies. He's played in the Black Mirror series on Netflix. He did a really good job on Black Mirror. He plays a lot of darker type of roles, but I like his acting. It's very anticlimactic, but his lines are very good. It's a lot of gems in this. So I definitely hope Diamond Wilson, who plays Lamont on Sanford and Son, passed away today. Oh no. Oh no, rest in peace to him. Yeah. So yeah, you guys, I hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, I'm giving Peacock free advertisement. I mean, I know I'm a smaller channel, but you know, my goal is to grow my channel and to really have people that want to be here. Okay. I'm not on YouTube for the money. If I was on YouTube for the money, I would have quit by now. Trust me. I'm literally on YouTube because I enjoy this. I want to, give my commentary. I feel like you know, I see a lot of people that are doing great things on YouTube that I admire. There's other channels that I follow that, do what I'm doing and more. And I really admire people that are very unapologetic and unafraid to speak their truth and be themselves. Okay. The X-Men are here. Truly, they really are. There are people on this planet that are very talented, that are otherworldly, that have many gifts, okay, spiritual gifts, gifts in the seen world and the unseen world. And I think that, everyone deserves their respect and their place. And I think that as humans, our job is to really understand each other, less judgment, because the judgment is not for us to do. Turn that judgment into discernment. Okay. If you want to judge people, judge yourself, judge your own life before you go to judging other people and this person's crazy and labeling other people. Examine your own life first. What areas of your life that needs to be changed? What do you need to judge about yourself and what you're doing before you project that judgment onto other people? Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy this live. I know it's a little bit different. I do other kinds of content. I use, most of my readings are on celebrity readings, and I also do money and career readings as well. So if this live isn't for you, there's other lives that you can watch. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending your time with me. Your time is your biggest currency. You can't get that back. So that's why I don't ask for donations. I don't ask for any of that because I don't need it. But I do respect and appreciate your time. Thank you for spending your time with me, and happy Sunday. Bye, y'all. Peace.